What's going on, good people? How we doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hopefully everybody had a good start to their week. It's halfway over. Shout out to everybody that's already in the building. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in and let the algorithm know that we in the building. And then the algorithm let other Giants fans know that we in the building. So appreciate the love and support for doing that right off the bat. Again, we talking about a War Room Wednesday. This week's opponent is going to be the Lions. But guess what, man? Despite a lot of effort, I was not able to lock down the Lions content creator. So guess what? We get to talk about this game. It's me, it's you in the chat. If we got other questions, because there's a lot of things going on with the New York Giants, a lot of things I want to talk about, especially when it comes to people's choices as far as who might be the next head coach. And I got a lot of questions for you guys. So we need to go ahead and go ahead and do that. So let me know if the audio is good. Let me know if the visual is good, and then we can get this thing started, man. Lions can be beat. Yeah, they can be beat. The Lions can be beat, but are we the team to do it? We got some good news today as far as Jackson Dart is progressing. Everything keeps up, keeps going the way that it's going. You might see him actually back this weekend versus the Lions. Some people want him to sit out another week. That'll be my first question, actually. That'll be my first question for everybody. If Jackson Dart is cleared, and I know this shouldn't be a question, but it's a question. If Jackson Dart is cleared, are you paying him? Are you playing him against the Lions? We don't got to pay Jackson Dart for a while, so I don't even want to put that out there. Shout out to my big brother in the building. Love you too, big bro. Quick roll call too while we doing this. Shout out to Coach G, Coach D, Mike Checker, OKC, Donald in the building. Said, Dash, time to focus on these kittens. New York Giants for life. I'm trying to focus on the rookies is what I assume you mean by that, right? Yeah, man, it's time to focus on these rookies and getting these guys some run. I saw on the injury report today that Thomas Fidone was on the injury report with a foot. I don't know how you hurt your foot not playing, but he hurt his foot. I kid respectfully. But that's a guy I definitely wanted to see on the field, but he did not participate today. Posting a Debo, it must have been a big setback pregame because he didn't practice today as well. Demetrius Flanagan fouled, did not practice. That was an illness. Cordell Flott had a personal day. Rico Payton had an illness. Darius Slayton, of course, with the hamstring. He didn't go last week, so it is what it is. And then Kayvon Thibodeau's shoulders, I guess, a little bit more serious than we thought. Shout out to that dark friend with a $2 super chat. Salute to you. Says Big Dash, let's throw some darts at the kittens. Now we getting weird now. We getting weird. Now, shout out to that dark friend. Also, that dark friend got a fun fact. He said, if I write Dart with the lowercase d, YouTube wouldn't allow it. What? Oh, it tries to correct it? You must type his name a lot. Luann says, what's going on? Luann says, hey, no throwing darts at Nancy. Look what you done started, man. Coach D said Brooklyn is in the house. That's what's up. BK in the house. My man Phil said, what's good, Dash? Predicting a win, bookmark it. It could, listen, the New York Giants beating the Detroit Lions would be an absolute giant thing to do. When everybody has you with no chance, somehow, some way, the New York Giants sometimes pull those things off. That dark friend, Luann says that dark friend, I get it. I get it now, I think it's what she's saying. OKC Donald says, glad I live in OKC, home of the champs, because these Giants come on, man, we ain't gonna do all that. Because these Giants taking me through it. They're taking everybody through it for sure. I needed to know how it feels to root for winners again. That's how I used to feel about Alabama, man. And then once Saban left, Alabama left too, and I'm just sitting here like, yo, I had Alabama to lean on, and I don't got Alabama to lean on anymore. So it is what it is. They still active right now. We'll see what happens. I think it's when it comes to college ball this year, I think it's the most honest. You got a lot of teams that you can see as a champ. You still got the two favorites in Ohio State and Indiana. But we actually get to see Indiana versus Ohio State before the regular season is over. So I can't wait for that game. Luann, out of nowhere, leave Kafka as coach. Oh, that's what I said, because we don't know exactly who the coach might be. I understand. Listen, man, if a lot of people don't believe that this is a true audition or interview for Mike Kafka, and it absolutely is. Now, I'll be absolutely honest with you guys. I think the Giants organization would want nothing more than for Mike Kafka to prove to everybody that he can be a coach. It helps him with the stress of finding a new GM. It helps him with the stress of finding a new head coach. No matter what, we're still gonna find a new defensive coordinator. But I think if Kafka was to go on a run, I think that's something that the New York Giants would want him to do because it makes that decision even easier for them to make. Because then the whole continuity and not changing the system up too much for Jackson Dart can come into play. But for me, I still want to burn it down. I still want to burn it down. But guess what? If Mike Kafka can rattle off a couple of wins, I might consider it. Actually, I don't know if I might consider it. I'm not. It might look good, but I don't know about that. Shout out to JDJ. Said, "What up, Dash? We still here like Shane Bowen. Yeah, we here. That's that's a fact. We here just like Shane Bowen, like surviving like cockroaches is what we doing right now. That's what Shane Bowen is doing, surviving like a cockroach for sure." JDJ also says, "Good news, Jackson likely to play. Bad news, Bowen likely to coordinate." Of course. And then we start to get to some of this stuff. Okay, he says, no, do not play Dart. Protect Dart at all costs. That's my man JJ the King. Coach D also says sit him one more week. A lot of people are saying that. I'm noticing that, man. But I know for a fact if he's clear to go, just think about Jackson Dart. You think he want to sit down healthy? He was dancing last week. So imagine how he feels this week. We'll see what happens. It was no contact practice for him today. So again, he's progressing in the protocol like he should. And I'm telling you, if he gets the okay, he's playing against Detroit. And this is the reason why I would want him to play against Detroit, because these are real reps against a good contending football team. Obviously, next week against the Patriots is going to be the same. And just so we're sure, I already got the Patriots guy locked in. So we ain't got to worry about flying solo on another war room. I got the Patriots guy locked in already. Shout out to my man Kendall. Over there. But Xavier, what's going on, Xavier? That Dart Francis probably shouldn't play Dart, but hard to pass up. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If he's healthy, he's gonna go, man. Imagine trying to talk that kid off the field, man. You know what I mean? Isaiah Hodgins is here now. Got a new toy to play with. Pause. Slayton, if he can get healthy, you got him back too. So man, and the way the offensive line blocked last week. That's one thing I'll say about Kafka. Kafka switched up the way that these guys blocked, the blocking scheme last week. So that was probably one of the most noticeable changes to the offense. Was that obviously with a strong emphasis of running the ball. You're dealing with Jameis Winston in a windy environment. I thought it was a cool thing to do, and actually it was successful. A lot of people saying sit in one more week. What's going on, Isaac? How we doing? Q Burrow brother says, sup Dash, Brian Burns getting 20. Is it possible? Your thoughts? I just need him to beat out Myles Garrett. Because I saw today that Myles Garrett is on pace for 25 and a half sacks. That beats Michael Strahan's pace. I need Brian Burns to beat. Just if anybody's going to beat Michael Strahan, let it be another Giant, please. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Xavier, how your son doing? I know last time we spoke, you said he was dealing with a little bit of an injury, and if you figure what he got it, what you guys did he make the playoffs? The school make the playoffs? Let me know. Luann says, Dash, I have a list of all the top wide receivers going in the draft. Let me know who you like the most. For me, I was heavy on Jordan Tyson from ASU. I asked a lot of people that I rock with if they have any concerns with the injury history of Jordan Tyson, and they're like, no. But I don't know. I can't shake him, man. He is super talented, man. I would love to have him on the Giants. The injuries scare me because they tend to linger. He had the shoulder last year. He had a knee the year before that, or either 2 years before that. Now he's dealing with a hamstring, and we talking about college ball. I want a running mate with Malik Nabers. But I'm telling you, the more I think about it, the more I like Carnell Tate at Ohio State more than I like Jordan Tyson. It's crazy too. I know it's crazy, but that's the way I'm leaning right now. Now, obviously, we got more months. We got the combine and all that stuff, and make sure you guys tune in for that, because once the Giants football season is over, I'm going to kick it into draft mode. And then it's all about prospects and breaking down college players. So if you guys are into that, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Shout out to the 40 people in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button on the way in. Fonzarelli said, "What's good, Dash? What's going on, Fonzarelli?" Mr. Burton 920 says, "Peace, Dash. My guy, keep up the good work. Appreciate your efforts and stand up perspectives." I appreciate that too, man. I've been getting killed this week though, man. I really do not want Mike McCarthy as a coach for the New York Giants, and I've been arguing with Giants fans pretty much since Jay Glazer dropped that list and Mike McCarthy was on it. I want no parts of Mike McCarthy. I'm sorry. I understand a lot of people say that, Mike McCarthy is a Tom Thibodeau, the way Tom Thibodeau stabilized the Knicks, and then now you got, guys stepping in. I don't view Mike McCarthy as a Tom Thibodeau. And then also, football is not the same as basketball. For me, I want the right head coach, so I ain't got to worry about replacing him in 3 to 4 years. Because if you get Mike McCarthy, again, respectable. I'm not going to sit here and just play him out. He's a winning coach with a winning record, but I know for a fact he's not winning any more chips. That man had the Green Bay Packer roster with a prime Aaron Rodgers and got one chip out of the deal in a weak NFC North during that time. Them early 2000s to mid to in 2010s, that NFC North was weak. It's not what it is right now. And you got one and dones and all that. So that's just me, my bias against Mike McCarthy. You guys can, well, I ain't gonna say you guys can change my mind in the chat, but I would like to hear what you guys got to say about Mike McCarthy, because it surprised me how many Giants fans are fighting for the honor of Mike McCarthy. I might be wrong. Maybe I am wrong. You guys will let me know that. You guys will let me know. Coach D says, hard to trust Joe Schoen, head coach pick. Even worse is trusting him with a single digit pick. Now I agree, man. I agree. Like low hanging fruit is one thing. Like getting Malik Neighbors is one thing. But you figure the first draft in 2022, at the time, I thought Evan Neal was going to hit. I thought Kayvon Thibodeau was going to hit. And then you go to 2025, you go to Abdul Carter. It's like, okay, we're still waiting to see what Abdul Carter can be. But hopefully he's trending towards a hit. But I don't know. It's those mid-round picks that I don't like. You got 31 picks that Joe Schoen made 31 picks from 2022 to the 2025 draft. And to me, I only see like 7 hits right now. And I'm including the guys from the 2025 draft, even though this season is not over yet. But it is what it is. Shout out to the heavyweight champion of the 6862. So it's not the world anymore. It's 6862. What did that? Tell me what that means. He says, woo! Fire Shane and Chris Mara now. That's not happening with Chris Mara. Sit Dart the rest of the season, needs more develop. How you gonna develop him if you sit him though? Champ? How do you develop him if he's sitting? You got some good defenses. You got Detroit, you got the Patriots still. Then you also got the Commanders and Dallas still. You can't sit them for the rest of the season. We're not tanking. What we tanking for? Tanking the trade back? Nah, man. We already got a hard enough time winning these games now. Development means he's playing. Because he already proved me wrong saying he could have been ready to go day one. He proved me wrong on that. So I'm not going to sit him now and guess what? You don't have the same coach in the building that's probably going to run him however many times. Because people say, well, Mike Kafka is the one calling the plays. But also, to me, it's like, what are the choice of plays he had to choose from? Was that Brian Dable that wanted to run him so much? We'll find out, though, as soon as Jackson Dart is back. OKC Donald says Tate, Ohio State, all day, every day. Now, that's a fact, man. 6'3", just under 200 pounds. Can do it all. Good body control, speed. Ohio State. One thing about Ohio State wide receivers, they're going to be fast. But he showed a different gear this year. And for me, he might be wide receiver 1 by the time it's all said and done, especially depending on what people do at the combine. But right now, if you ask me today, beginning of the year, Jordan Tyson was my number 1 wide receiver. Now I'm leaning Cornell Tate for sure. For sure. JDJ says, big news, Dash. They opened up the window for Eric Gray. Don't you open up that window. Nah, that's hilarious, man. I really thought he was going to be gone. They really kept him on the IR this long. They opened up the window, but guess what? We need another running back. Now, here's the thing, though. If we actually do sign him back, who do we get rid of to have that third running back? Because right now they done proved that they might not need a third running back, but who knows, man? For me, If you don't have a better option, if you don't believe Turbo Miller is better than Eric Gray, then you go with Eric Gray. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Xavier said his son back. He back in the lab, clear. He got the invite to showcase. That's what's up. That's what's up. Best of luck to your son, man. He out there doing this thing too, man. Quarterback, QB1. That's what's up. Luann says Tate is on my list. Is he first on your list, though? Is he first on your list? Let me know. Tyrone Hall says, looking forward to another top 5 draft pick since our season is over. House cleaning coming up. That's a good question, man. And again, I think it really is a true audition for Mike Kafka, man. I really believe it's a true audition for Mike Kafka. No matter who doesn't want to hear it, I think it really is. You figure the ball is in his court. If he can get this team to win some games, they're going to take a hard look at him. Pause. He's going to be right there in the mix. And the one thing that's going to be pushing for him, if he can rattle off a couple of W's, is they don't have to change much in the in the building. Now, for me, again, I want to burn it all the way down. I absolutely want to burn it all the way down. But it's already clear that the Maras and the Tishes might not want to burn this thing all the way down. Pretty much that's what they're putting out through the beat writers. So, and you know how they use the beat writers from here and there. Coach D says 20 sacks from the edge, but we giving up 7 yards off the tackle runs. Got to be better than the Strahan lockdown. That's a fact. Now that's a fact, man. Brian Burns is fantastic, man. And he's gotten better against the run, but that's not his specialty. Just like dropping him in coverage is not his specialty. But it don't stop Shane Bowen from doing it. But now, Brian Burns ended up being a fantastic deal by Joe Schoen. I got to give Joe Schoen credit for that. We got Brian Burns for 2 twos. Fantastic deal, and that actually is working out in Joe Schoen's favor. Now, some of these other deals, not so much. And the people that he let walk, again, not so much. Luann says, hopefully next season we will be breaking down the Giants playoffs. I hope so, man. I really thought we had a chance to actually get our respect back this year. And I think we did actually, even with all the losses. I don't believe that we're the laughing stock. But I'm just still tired of losing. I think with adding Jackson Dart, the way that we have been playing, like we've been having the meanest collapses. But some of the wins that we did rattle off, or 2 of the wins that we rattled off, were against contenders. So that's something to look at. But again, like my man Tyrone said, ain't too many silver linings or moral victories. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna leave it at that. That Dark Friend says McCarthy is probably better than Nagy and Smith. What the hell is that list? Shula only one I wanted on that list. Yeah, Nagy's another one. I've seen how that movie ended too. Mike McCarthy, I've seen how that movie ended. Which Smith are you talking about? What's Smith? I'm drawing a blank. Who's Smith? It's probably somebody that I should know, but I might just be drawing a blank. But who's Smith? And actually, let me do it so the comments are there, so we good with that. Luann says the offense knows the system under Kafka. Let Kafka coach next season with the healthy team, then see what happens. See, and that's an easy thing to do, right? Because a lot of people don't want to make it harder than it has to be. But then sometimes you got to make it harder than it has to be in order to be right. Like you can go the easy route and try to keep everything the same with Kafka. And I understand that point of view, but at the end of the day, I want chips. The same way I don't want Mike McCarthy. I'm not trying to run out here with Mike Kafka just because of the vibes and just because he's been here. Because what we've been dealing with ain't been working. So if you want that to happen, he gotta rattle off some wins. We gotta drop a couple 40 burgers or something like that. But as long as his defense is coached by Shane Bowen, does it matter? I don't think it does. OKC says tear it down to the studs, get these overpriced bums out of here and reestablish the Giants' way. Now here's the problem when it comes to the cap and getting people out of here, overpriced people out of here. We don't have nobody left. And we don't have anybody left because of how bad the drafting has been. Like normally when you draft, and hopefully you're drafting well, you don't have to bat 1,000. You don't have to do that, but at least bat 500. Because Joe Schoen ain't even batting 500 right now. If he was batting 500, that'd be, 15 out of the 31 picks. Not really even. That's a little bit over 500. But I'm just saying, he's not even doing that. He's batting like 250. And for some people, that's not bad either. But for the draft and the New York Giants, yeah, that's bad to me. But the whole point is, if you drafted well, then you would have some of the replacements in the building already. Again, the whole 2022 class outside of Kayvon Thibodeau is not even on the books for 2026. So just think about all those players. That's your Bellingers, your Wan'Dale Robinsons, your Dane Beltons, your Micah McFadden's. Those are the guys that actually left outside of Kayvon Thibodeau. All those guys are up for contracts. And if you are the type to view it as the market versus what these guys are really worth, you're talking about paying a lot of money for guys that are just okay. Above average a little bit in certain occasions. But if you already drafted well like other teams do, you already got somebody waiting in the back for somebody to leave. They're just waiting for their opportunity, and we don't have that. How many safeties have we drafted since Dane Belton? You had Javarius Owens, and you also had Tyler Nubin, and we're looking at Tyler Nubin like he's fun, like he looked funny in the light now. But I'm hoping that Tyler Nubin can get it together. Maybe better coaching helps him. But now you got Javon Holland, you got Tyler Nubin, and then you got no safeties after that because you didn't draft well enough to have somebody, as far as good depth goes. But I digress. Q Burrow brother says Banks didn't let us down with his same as usual coverage. He was looking like the cheese on a pan of good lasagna. That's crazy. Yeah, because even when he had like good coverage, he still was getting like Christian Watson. He had good coverage on Watson. It just was a nasty catch. But that's the kind of things that happen to Tay Banks. Like what was it the other week where the ball tipped over somebody else? That was a Denver game. The ball tipped over somebody else, and his man still didn't quit on a play and still got the touchdown. Those are the type of things that happen to Tay Banks. Like really, just unlucky. Just unlucky. Isaac says our standards are so low right now. Who you telling, man? And they like listen. Some of these people are dead serious. Like I got one back and forth that's probably like 20 messages long, and it's my fault for going back and forth that long. But I'm just sitting here like you really want Mike McCarthy as the next? Oh, it's about stability and stabilizing things. I'd rather have this many wins. I'd rather have this many. But what about the playoffs? I don't know. Shout out to Simeon. Okay, Simeon says, let's get 12 wins, win a division each year, and let the chips fall where they may. So I'm assuming you like Mike McCarthy. And again, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from. But I just know when the Dallas Cowboys got into the playoffs, they was either one and done or two and done. And most likely it was one and done. And then when I look at the Green Bay Packers from 2006 to what? How long was he there for? To 2017 or something like that? I just know you had Aaron Rodgers and one of the best rosters in football in the weak division. You got the one Super Bowl for sure. But after that, it's a bunch of one and dones. And then sometimes he didn't even make the playoffs in Green Bay. I've seen this movie before. So, and also just because he got a 12-5 record with the Dallas Cowboys, he also had Dan Quinn coaching that defense. And also that roster was stacked. Doesn't mean you're going to go 12 wins with the New York Giants. I'm just saying. It is what it is. 5-string fling says if we can't listen, man, you're going to get me in trouble. All this Mike Tomlin talk, the Steelers are not getting rid of Mike Tomlin. It's not going to happen. Harbaugh, as long as Lamar Jackson is bringing these guys back, you're going to see John Harbaugh there. Now, John Harbaugh might be one of those, I can't even say a surprise firing, but he could possibly be a surprise firing. But I don't know. But you said McVay or McVay. I want Chris Shula. McVay, I don't know if McVay is leaving. McVay showed interest in being in the front office. So I think eventually he might take a GM job, being bored with coaching. His coaching tree is pretty much solidified right now. But I do like Chris Shula. Chris Shula is on my list for sure. Another defensive coordinator. Born for Sports. Shout out to my man Born for Sports in the building. If you are not subscribed to my man Born for Sports, what's going on, Jorge? Make sure you guys go ahead and do that. He says, I do not want Mike McThibodeau. And guess people are saying that, and it's like a selling point. That's not a selling point to me. I don't want to hire a coach knowing that I'm going to hire another coach after that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Shout out to Tuto with the $4.99 super chat. What's going on, Tuto? Says massive respects to Big Dash, king of New York Giants media. I wish I was. And all diehard Giant fans across the pond. Greetings from our entire Italian national rugby team currently in South Africa. What's going on, Tuto? How you doing, man? Tell the teammates that I said what's up. Be safe. How's it going? Make your money. Win some games. Shout out to my man Tuto for sure. Day one guy right there. Where'd I go? I skipped off and then lost where I was. Give me a second. JDJ says you hire McCarthy and you already know what your team's ceiling. That's what I'm saying. You get Mike McCarthy and then you're already preparing for the coach after Mike McCarthy. I don't want to do that. Then also people that say, well, he can hire the right coordinator and that coordinator can take over. You tell me what the Mike McCarthy tree looks like. Because I haven't seen it. You let me know what who was part of that Mike McCarthy tree? Ben McAdoo. When we got him. I don't know. I don't know that Mike McCarthy coaching tree. I don't think it's that good. Both Joshes, I'm starting to like Mentor and Shula Dash. I think Flores is out. Flores was already a long shot anyway. That was just me with a pipe dream thinking that Flores can actually come here. That's right in the wrong type of deal. I already know the chances of that happening is super slim. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that happens with Flores, but I guess until it doesn't, I'm going to hope for it. We'll see what happens though. Ronald says trade back for a King's ransom, 2, 3rd, and next year's first round. It depends on who's coming up for sure. That would be my first move too, is to trade back, but I would hate to trade out of like the top 15 because if you stay in the top 15, you're still able to land one of those wide receivers between Tyson, Tate, and Mekhi Lemon. I think you could still land one of those guys if you trade back and still stay in the top 15. We'll see what happens though. I would love to get an extra first round pick in 2027 though. These some decent classes that are gonna be coming out depending on the position that you're looking for. The more picks, the better. The more at bats, the better. Basquiat says, I will always say Bruce Arians is the guy and nobody will listen to me. It's just that he's old. That's it. Shout out to Bruce Arians with the Kango hats all the time. Bruce Arians is super cool, man. I like Bruce Arians. He had health issues too. That's why he stepped down in Tampa Bay. I think he's comfortable doing what he's doing. I like him on the Pat McAfee show when he has his sessions or a segment, I should say. But I don't think he's coming back to coach full time. But I like Bruce Arians. I like Bruce Arians a lot. That's a leader of men right there, and that's what the New York Giants need for sure. JDJ says Hard Knocks is dropping soon. Are they gonna blur Dable's face out of this? They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. They got permission because they signed a contract with the NFL. That means anybody working for the NFL, your faces can be used, image can be used, on Hard Knocks. So I expect to see all that. Did you guys see the trailer though? I did see the trailer for Hard Knocks. I saw it on Twitter. I forget who shared it, but I saw it on Twitter. I tell you what, they know how to sell. They know how to sell Hard Knocks because, man, get your popcorn ready for Hard Knocks. Get your popcorn ready. The cameras were in there earlier than we suspected, so they might actually have a portion of the Dable firing on there. We'll see what happens. Now, they might ask to have that left out. We'll see it. But they had interviews with Dart from they had game footage in the trailer from the Chargers game. So, and obviously it might not be hard. It might just be NFL that shares some of that footage with them. But we'll see what happens, man. But it is what it is. Heavyweight champ says, "Woo! Same way Brady, Mahomes, Rodgers all sat and developed. Woo! But he already played. That's what I'm saying. You already put him out there. You can't put him back on the shelf after you don't put him out there for 7 games. You can't do that. You can't put him back on the shelf. You can't put him back on the shelf. He's out there. He deserves the snaps. He needs the development. There's no longer any development on the bench for him now. He out there doing real things. I can't do it. Shout out to the Big Moo in the building. What's going on, Big Moo? Says, yo, Big Dash, when we get a top 5 pick next year, what kind of draft capital can we turn that into? We don't need a quarterback finally. That's one of the best things about it. because you have some people that are still looking at like Tankathon. I'm not worried about Tankathon at all. I'm not rooting for losses. Well, I never rooted for losses, even when we didn't have a quarterback. That's just something I can't do. But we don't got to worry about that now. Now you can actually sit back, take BPA or where need meets value, because I still believe we're a need meets value team. We're not a BPA team yet. That's like your Philadelphia Eagles and your Chiefs and stuff like that, who can just draft the best player. We still got real needs and real holes on this team. So, but no, if you can trade back, I definitely need an extra third. If I can, like a perfect spot. Who has I think the Rams have 2 picks in the first round this year. So just imagine if the New York Giants are drafting 2 overall. That's where we're at right now. And then the Rams, I think the Rams are at like 11 and 20 something right now. Obviously, that's not the real, because the season's not over. But I would damn sure trade the number 2 overall for like the 11th and the 20 something from the Rams. And if I do something like that, you might actually not even get a first in 2027 if somebody's trading you 2 firsts in the same draft. It just depends. But I'll take 2 firsts in this draft for sure. That'll get me my wide receiver, possibly a top linebacker, top cornerback, top offensive tackle, or not a guard that early. But you can do a lot. You can do a lot when you don't need a quarterback, and there's some quarterback needy teams. And this quarterback class isn't even that strong too when you think about it. So yeah, you can come away with a king's ransom, as the people like to say, king's ransom. Luann says Ryan Williams too young to even declare. He's only a sophomore. He's a true sophomore, 18 years old. So he can't even come out this year. Jordan Tyson, Tate, Antonio Williams is from Clemson, and a few more. Okay, yeah, but Ryan Williams can't even come out this year. He can't even come out this year. Elijah Surratt at Indiana is dope. Omar Cooper Jr. at Indiana also is dope. You got Chris Brazil at Tennessee. You got Chris Bell at Louisville. You got Jacoby Lane at USC. He's another one that's good. It's a lot of them, man. It's a lot of quality wide receivers. There's a lot of quality wide receivers. The Big Moose says I was pretty high on Eric Gray coming out of college, yeah. But the idiots use him out of the gates on kick and punt returns, and that never did. Yeah. One thing about Eric Gray, he was never like he wasn't a burner, but he can cross people up, man. He could shake people. He had some wiggle to him, man. Pause. We saw it in preseason. What was it? I think it was the Lions preseason game. He shook the safety from like 15 yards away. But we saw that in college. If you looked at him in Oklahoma, you saw that in college. He was setting people up in college, breaking ankles. But again, he can get you a 20, 30-yard run, but he ain't going for 60 because he ain't fast enough. But I was a fan of Eric Gray too, and then injuries happen, fumbles happen. He looked horrible on kick return and special teams, so we forgot about him, and then we moved on. JDJ says I'm paranoid. Tyson seems solid, but he got hair like Hyatt. So listen, man. You can't worry about the hair nowadays, because half of these kids growing up got hair like that. When you look at like some of this 7-on-7 stuff, that's just the style these kids is wearing. Half of them mixed, so they got the half curly hair anyway. So that's just what it is. That's what it is. The Hyatt hair is not going away. So don't be afraid of that at all. Coach D says I cringe at drafting a wide receiver. We can sign a free agent. There's not any though. There's not a lot of wide receivers in free agency. We got to worry about signing Wan'Dale if we're talking about signing a wide receiver in free agency. If you want Wan'Dale back, you got to draft at least one wide receiver, and it has to happen in either the first, second round, because we don't even have a third rounder. Because once you get into that, yeah, because by the last person that I would draft is like Omar Cooper, and he's rising up the boards now too. Omar Cooper was a day 2 guy. You could possibly get him in like that 75 to 100 range. He might be higher than that now. He's a third rounder, but it is what it is. I like Omar Cooper a lot. Body control. He's one of those guys that's probably going to be a better pro than he is in college. You can just tell. Some people, and he got that dog in him too. Yeah, and you can move him around. So, and my whole deal is to get a wide receiver that you can get on the outside, and you can also move Malik Neighbors around, because that's the point we got to get to. is being able to move Malik Neighbors around, use him where he can be used the best. Simeon says Joe Shane's homeboy should be given credit for Burns since he gave him a gift. Yeah, it was damn near a gift. You can consider it a gift for sure. Arthur Smith is at track. Oh, Arthur Smith. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. No thanks on Arthur Smith. No thank you. Respectfully. Not even respectfully. Disrespectfully, no thank you. I'm not doing that. No sirree, Bob. No see. Tudo with the $1.99 super chat says, Big Dash, we're 9-4 as we speak. Please pray for my victims. That's gangster. That's gangster. Telling people to pray for your victims is that's gangster. Tudo with another super chat, $4.99 this time. It says, Big Dash, please sign me up on the Giants roster, and I'll promise you there won't be any quarterback, O-lines, or ball carriers walking off the pitch on their own powers, mate. You know what, Tudo? I believe you. I absolutely believe you. 100%. 100%. Shout out to my man Greg T in the building. Says Banks is a great guy. He allows guys to catch the ball and have friendly stroll through the end zone. What an awesome, wholesome gentleman. Banks are open on Sundays, right? Banks are open on Sundays. Teams of Vela says 1,500 on Detroit -9. Possibly a good bet. Could possibly be a good bet for sure. For sure. Simeon says 12-5 beats 2-15. Absolutely. No arguments there. I want a chip though. Because a chip beats all of that. How long has Dallas been? It was Dallas was what? 13-3 one year under Garrett, and it meant nothing. And again, McCarthy had all those playoffs. I mean, all those fantastic regular seasons. He got one chip, but arguably one of the best quarterbacks that ever lived. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know who y'all think McCarthy is. And then I love this point right here, Simeon, and I'm not picking on you. I swear, I'm not picking on you. You know what I mean? Because it's all love. This is Giants family, Big Blue Nation. He says, I don't like McCarthy, which a lot of people do say, but I will take him over unproven first-time head coaches. Now, this is the thing, right? Because I've been arguing with a lot of people, or debating a lot of people, I should say. That's a better word to use. I've been debating people all day this same exact point. Mike Tomlin, Dan Campbell, John Harbaugh, Shanahan, McVay, all these guys. Now we know them as solid head coaches. Those were all first-time head coaches with their original teams, and they're successful. So it's not about unproven. It's about picking the right unproven guy at the end of the day. Because again, when you look at McCarthy, and if you hire McCarthy and you say, you know what, and you ask a Giants fan, say, hey, we're going to take McCarthy. Okay, cool. But, we're probably going to have to replace him in 4 years. I don't want to sign up for that. 3 years. I don't want to sign up. I don't want to hire a coach thinking about the next coach after him. I don't want to do that. I just think about this too, man. I remember when the Lions hired Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell was an assistant head coach with the Saints and a tight end coach. He was a tight end coach in a couple places. I remember when the Detroit Lions hired Dan Campbell, and I was sitting here like, really? Dan Campbell? And then I saw the presser. He talking about biting kneecaps and all this cliche stuff. And I'm sitting like, oh, man, this is going to be a show. Boy, was I wrong. You never know when you hit on the person, because I know a lot of people, when they hired Dan Campbell, they just was like, what? The same old Lions doing Lions things. That man turned that team around instantly. They had 1 year where they didn't make the playoffs, and they made the playoffs every year after that, and now they're an absolute juggernaut. A juggernaut. And he was a first-time head coach, unproven. Just like Shanahan was, but Shanahan had been to a couple of Super Bowls, having won. Now, if you want to start talking about Shanahan falling into that Mike McCarthy, area, I still think he's head and shoulders above Mike McCarthy. But he's another guy. A lot of regular season wins, getting to the playoffs. A lot of playoff wins, getting to the Super Bowl and can't get it done. But I'm not putting him in the same category as Mike McCarthy because I would 100% take Shanahan right now. Right now. Then Tomlin is Tomlin. John Harbaugh been there almost as long as Tomlin, and you see these guys are always winning games. All right. Shout out to my man Phil with the $5 super chat. Says 4 quarterback needy teams. If we finish ahead of them, we most likely stay in the top 6 with a first next year, 3rd round this year, and a top wide receiver. That's music to my ears. That's absolute music to my ears. If we can pull that off. If we can pull that off for sure. Shout out to Luann. $20 super chat. Didn't say anything, though. I appreciate the love and support as always, Luann. And if you got a comment, go ahead and put it in the regular comment section. You ain't got to worry about it. Luann says Giants are probably talking to Bill Belichick. I'm glad you put the LOL after that. I'm glad you put the LOL after that because, man, I'll take McCarthy over Bill Belichick. Put it that way. I think Bill Belichick, respectfully, is cooked. He done got to that age where you start doing respectfully. Be respectful. He got to the age where he's not doing the most sane things. Also, he's losing in college, in the ACC. And just some of the decisions he's making lets me know that it's time to hang him up, Bill. It's time to hang. You made a lot of money. And I don't want to count another man's pockets, but you made a lot of money. It's not like you're doing it for the money. I'm assuming you're doing it for the love. But UNC is beating that man up for sure. For sure. H-Town says Aiden Doherty, DC, Clinton Kubiak, OC, Mike LaFleur. OC, Mike LaFleur is another one. Chris Shula, DC Rams, Joe Lombardi, OC, Vance Joseph. You think Vance Joseph gets another chance? I don't know if he gets another chance. We'll see though. Again, my dark horse is Aubrey Pleasant. I'm a hang my hat on Aubrey Pleasant. Pause. Until the coaching cycle is over. I think he's going to be an outstanding coach at one point in time. It might be too soon for him right now, but he's definitely on my radar. Shout out to my man Kenneth Perkins. Says, what up, Dash? Joe Shane interview. He said there are only going to be 6 coaching candidates. 2 of them are Matt Nagy and Arthur Smith out of the 6. Now, if you're talking about the Jay Glazer, I guess bombshell, you can call it. He kind of, I don't know how valid that list is. I know the type of person that they're looking for. They want to retread. The Giants want to retread. It was hard to see Matt Nagy and Arthur Smith on that list. It's kind of depressing. Even now, my face changed even thinking about it. Even just thinking about it, my face and my mood changed. No. I'll take Mike McCarthy over both of those guys. And Mike McCarthy is like probably 8th on my list, in all honesty. Let's see. A lot of people showing love to Tudo. That's what's up. Jay says Bruce ain't playing. I mean, Bruce ain't coming out of retirement. He ain't coming back to coaching. That's a fact. H-Town says, doesn't matter who the Giants bring in player-wise, if they don't strike gold with the coaching staff, have to be able to develop, elevate, and maximize talent on the roster and make them better. Coaching has a big, coaching plays a big part, of course. I'm going to jump on the Carl Banks bandwagon really quickly, but also execution matters as well. Perfect example is this past week, man. This past week, nobody's going to sit here and say Abdul Carter isn't a good player. He's a very good player. He has a very good talent. But execution-wise, he was not executing this past week. He was getting too far upfield. He was getting beat to the edge, wasn't setting a proper edge, We saw it this week, and that's a talented player. So to your point, H-Town, you can have all the talent in the world, but if they ain't getting coached up right, it really doesn't matter. I believe that. Shout out to my man D-Dan in the building too. What's going on, D-Dan? You said who's this? Jonas Fortellini? Never heard of. Wide receiver JSU? Jackson? Jackson State or Jacksonville State in Alabama? Let me know. I ain't never heard of that guy. JSU. Unless I'm bugging. Jacksonville State, Jackson State is JSU's, I know. Coach D says Eric Gray had bad vision, burst through the hole. Yeah. Especially on kick return. Greg T says wide receivers are a dime a dozen. They are new running backs. Don't pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, Greg T. I'm gonna finish reading it, but pump the brakes. He said wide receivers are a dime a dozen. There are new running backs. Don't spend a first round pick on one. We already have neighbors. We can get a quality wide receiver too in the later rounds. 7-on-7 circuit has oversaturated the market. I see your point. I'm gonna disagree with your point though. I'm gonna disagree with your point because there's levels when it comes to these wide receivers. Sure, you can find your diamonds in the rough, day 2, even day 3. That's possible, but a lot of this low hanging fruit is good fruit, especially when it comes to these wide receivers. Man, not too many wide receivers that you see right now that get drafted in the top 10 are busts. Marvin Harrison, actually, now that I'm thinking, Marvin Harrison, he's starting to get it together now. But you see Roman Denze out the gates running. Malik Neighbors out the gates running. I can agree with the point of not needing like another wide receiver one. That's one thing. But no matter who you put on this team, they're going to be wide receiver 2 when it comes to Malik Neighbors. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. But if I got a chance to take Carnell Tate, I'm taking him. I'm taking him. No doubt in my mind, I'm taking him. Other thing we got to think about too is Jermaine Illuminor. That's another guy that's coming up on the free agent with a free agent contract. We got to try to get him re-signed. And yes, we got Marcus Bowe here too, but Marcus Bowe right now is your swing tackle. He's the depth at tackle right now. So if you can't get Jermaine Illuminor signed, you got to bump Marcus Bowe up, or you got to draft a tackle possibly earlier than you would have if you can't get Jermaine Illuminor re-signed. So there's a lot of factors that are going to go into this draft, and our needs might be totally different after free agency. We'll see what happens though. Shout out to the Big Moo, letting everybody know to hit the like button and subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you're a New York Giants fan, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, please, and thank you. And also, if you have not hit that like button, again, I got 70 people in the building. Hopefully I got 70 likes. It costs you nothing. It also helps the channel tremendously. Appreciate it. Antoine, what's going on, Antoine? Antoine Davis in the building. Coach G says, Greg, hold on, let me find Greg's first because you're agreeing with somebody. You talking about the first round wide receiver. So okay, so now, hold on, way to go. So Coach, you agree with him about the wide receiver? He says, I'll even grab 2. One of these chips fall to the second round as defense needs hitters. Now, I do agree with the defensive portion of this conversation. And the funny thing about it is, going into this season, we thought the defense was going to be the stronger side of the ball. And then we realized that it wasn't. And there's a lot of issues. I did a lot of blaming the defensive line because of the rush defense. But I got to start looking at these linebackers too, man. There was a play where, who was it? It was a touchdown. Who was it that ran the touchdown on that play? All I know is it was a touchdown. Both of the linebackers running free. Both took the wrong gap. Both of them took the wrong gap. Flanagan Fowles took the wrong gap. Bobby Okereke ended up getting caught in the wash, and the guy ran in free, untouched for the touchdown. And that's straight up linebacker play. That's straight scraping. They didn't locate the ball, and when they took their guess, they guessed wrong. And the running back gets a touchdown untouched in the red zone. That's linebacker play right there. I can't blame the scheme on that. I can't blame Bowen on that. That's just straight up linebacker 101 flowing, locating the ball, hitting the man, choosing the right gap, shedding blocks, all that. Man, unless your D tackle doesn't do your job and the offensive lineman gets free and gets to the second level, then that's on the defensive line. But when you're sitting there trying to locate the ball, you don't have a blocker in front of you, Flanagan fouls, and you just flat out choose the wrong hole, pause. That's just a linebacker at the end of the day. And the New York Giants definitely need a linebacker. I don't know what Micah McFadden is going to look like coming back off of the broken foot. Hopefully he comes back and he's fine, but also we got to pay Micah McFadden. Another person that we got to pay because we also don't have any depth behind him. All 31 draft picks, remind you. 31 draft picks, and we don't got no quality linebackers behind Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden. What are we talking about? You might say Darius Mursal, but that man is a special team in my opinion. And he's barbecue chicken when it comes to pass coverage. As a coverage linebacker, barbecue chicken. So said man, I'm just like I said, I love a healthy debate, man. Because hey, you might be able to change my mind at some point in time. That's a fact. Oh, Sherman, McAdoo, and Judge. Sherman actually was a head coach. He was a retread. Yeah, he was a head coach. We got him out of Minnesota because we liked the way the offense looked, but he also had head coaching experience too. Sherman was a head coach, short-lived, but he also was a head coach. McAdoo, we kept him because he was the offensive coordinator under Mike Tomlin. I'm sorry, Tom Coughlin. And I remember everybody fell for the okie doke. We saw Eli playing well. His what was it? His passing percentage was in the 70s because we had the West Coast offense, all the quick ball, short passes, all that, And then McAdoo, respectfully, was 11-5 his first year coaching. Jerry Reese bought a defense because at that point in time he spent like $120 million, and at that time $120 million on the defense in free agency was a lot of money. So he bought the defense. The defense showed up. We was winning games 7-10. In 2017, winning games like that, and then got to the playoffs. Boat trip happened. The rest is history. And then Joe Judge. Nobody knew who Joe Judge was when we hired him. I remember when they said, "Oh, it's a guy from New England that's getting an interview." But I'm like, okay, they just interviewing people. And then like 3 days later, Joe Judge is the next head coach of the New York Giants. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't even get a chance to research Joe Judge. This man is a special teams coordinator. What are we doing? But, it is what it is. It is what it is. And then we got that. But don't let that deter you from just getting rid of a pool of candidates. I don't care how bad Judge was, how bad McAdoo was, how bad Sherman was, how bad Brian Daboll was. I don't care. You keep on trying until you get the right one. And when you get the right one, it is what it is. You got to hit. You got to keep taking the chances, man. And trust me, I understand the frustration. But just think about these retreads, though, man. Just think about some of the names they're saying. Nagy, McCarthy. Some people saying John Gruden, but we already know that's a myth. Just think about some of these names. Arthur Smith. All those names that I just named got expiration dates on them. Like real expiration dates. I don't want to coach with an expiration date before he even steps on the field or he gets the first day on the job. Mike McCarthy has an expiration date of probably 2028, 2029. Same thing. Nagy probably got expiration date of 2028. Arthur Smith probably got expiration date of 2027. What are we talking about here? I don't want to coach with an expiration date before he even gets in the office. Please no. No, thank you. Greg T says the Belichick idea is growing on me, but only because I know he'll change the culture here, and he still wants to break the all-time win record, and he wants to do it with the Giants low-key. How do we even know what Bill Belichick wants? I used to subscribe to that, to what Bill Belichick, he wants to come back to the Giants. The Giants pretty much picked what's his name, that horrible coach. They picked Hanley over Belichick. Belichick wanted to be the coach then. And they chose who? Handley. I mean, come on. And then he went to the Browns. And we saw what happened in the Browns. And the Browns went to freaking Baltimore. The Browns didn't exist anymore. And that was one of the craziest coaching staffs, too, because I believe Nick Saban was on that coaching staff with Bill Belichick when he was with the Browns. There was a couple people on that Brown staff that ended up being head coaches. It is what it is, though. H-Town says nagging Arthur negative on both. I'm telling you, man. Luann says, I want a linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, and maybe another old lineman. Yes, 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 and yes. All that. We need all of that. All of them. I might even double dip at cornerback, depending on if we can get a deal with Flott done. And that's another reason why I don't like Joe Schoen, because look at the cornerback situation. You're going to have Banks here by default. Cordell Flott is going to be asking for some money. And you ain't got nobody behind that with a contract in 2026, except for Corey Black, I believe. 31 picks with no depth. That's crazy. Right now, I watch the Philadelphia Eagles, and I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. I watched the Philadelphia Eagles lose. What's it? Slay, and then what's the guy? Bradshaw. Lost them in the same season. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even think twice about it. Why? Because they got cornerbacks waiting to play already, waiting to step up. We don't have none of that. And that's a problem. Just think about we got to do all this offensive line building. Greg Van Roten most likely retires. And if you can't get Illuminor re-signed, that's your whole right side. That's going to be brand new in 2026. We got Jake Kubas. You got Azudu, who's also going to be a free agent, but you got Stinney, who's on a 1-year contract. Like, what are we? That just pisses me off the more I think about it. Jackson State. Okay, Jackson State. I got to look him up. Coach D says, sign Illuminor, sign Flott. Yeah, I'm getting closer to the comments, too, man. I'm only 10 minutes behind right now, 9 minutes behind. So I'm getting caught up slowly but surely. My defensive pick is linebacker Eric E40 Hunter, Morgan State. Oof. Morgan State. I got to look into that. E40 is a crazy name. Shout out to Stephen Bloom. He says, been saying it all season. LB play kills. Our run game, missed tackles for losses every game. Slow to fill. Yo, it's crazy. Now, again, I'm all aboard. I'm the conductor on the fire Shane Bowen train. But I got to call a spade that just sometimes the execution is just horrible too. Two things can be true. Shane Bowen can be absolutely horrible, which I believe he is. But also these guys got to execute because we have not been seeing it. Coach D says trade Tibbs, switch to the 3-4. We're already in the 3-4. Said trade Tibbs, switch to 3-4. Burns outside pass rusher. Carter third down specialist. Rookie middle linebacker. Rookie outside linebacker. Dex at nose. 100% maybe a rookie cornerback second round. Lay a defensive foundation. I think whoever comes in here as far as a defensive coordinator, I think they still do keep the 3-4 going. I think because that's where the strengths of this defense are right now is our edge rushers. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence at the nose tackle with the odd front, that works. You can always have your hybrid 4-3 or even fronts. But that's where the strength lies. Also, if we try to switch to the 4-3, you got to find yourself a will linebacker. We don't got a will linebacker at all. We don't have a will linebacker at all. And then you talk about Bobby Okereke, which I never believed that Bobby Okereke just stopped being good. I always was blaming Shane Bowen on the production of Bobby Okereke. Definitely believed that like 100% last year. This year, I don't know as much. I don't know. H-Town says Newman gets some strength and weight on him, and he might be a better linebacker. He for sure plays better downhill than in the box. Newman is tricky for me because when I watched him in Minnesota, He had pretty much everything that you wanted in a safety. And I keep going back. And again, this we're talking about the Big Ten. That's when he played. He played in the Big Ten, so it wasn't like it was easy competition. Now he played in the lesser half of the Big Ten, but Minnesota played some good teams. But I saw him bait quarterbacks into throwing to lanes, and he was picking people off. So I don't know if it's just a Giants thing of how they're playing them. But then I also think about just some of the mistakes and execution that he makes, bad angles. I saw that man, what was it, the second play of the game, second time we played the Philadelphia Eagles. It was him and Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley was about 10 yards in front of him. And I don't know how he beat the angle on Nubin, but Nubin was standing there staring at Saquon, and Saquon was doing what? Running past him. Some of this stuff is on the players. But again, I got to keep saying I want Shane Bowen gone because I believe just some of the things that he does on defense make you scratch your head, make you want to throw your remote. Example, dropping Brian Burns in coverage. Just certain things you can't do and get away with it, but he's absolutely getting away with it. Shout out to my man George. What's going on, George? This Big Dash. What up? What's going on, George? NYG fan for life 82 says wide receiver, defensive backs, and linebackers are huge needs for us. McFadden will be on discount due to the injury. I do believe that. I do believe we saved some money because he got hurt this season. I do believe we saved some money with that. And that might have been a blessing in disguise. Now, I would much rather have him on the field now making plays because just remember when he got hurt against the Commanders in game 1, he had just made like back-to-back tackles doing what? Locating the ball, flowing side to side, making plays. And that we haven't seen it since consistently. Now, again, this was just game 1. But I think that first drive, he had like 3 tackles in that first drive. So it is what it is. Coach D says we also need a guard desperately. I do believe we need a guard, but you can also find a guard in the later rounds. Also, some of these tackles in this draft, man, they're going to be guards in the NFL for sure. H-Town says, Dash, you sound like a parent at Chuck E. Cheese with a pocket full of coins telling kids, keep trying until you get it right. You got to, man. You can't be afraid to try first time head coaches because you've been bad at it. Your GMs have been bad. Your GMs have been bad. Gettleman did what? He got you Pat Shermer. He got you Joe Judge. That was his. Those were hand selected by Gettleman. He gets fired, and then the Giants hand select Joe Schoen, even though they hand selected Joe Schoen. The Maras wanted Brian Flores. Joe Schoen sold Brian Dable to the Maras, and then that's how we got Brian Dable. Luann says trade Banks for what? What you gonna get for him now? You could have traded. I heard, what was it? It was before the Colts got Sauce Gardner. Their backup plan was Deonte Banks, and I don't know how you go from Sauce Gardner to Deonte Banks. That's a hell of a drop. That's a hell of a drop in talent. But that's what they was going to do. And why didn't we give them up? I don't know. Possibly because we had no depth. We had no depth. If a Debo was healthy, possibly, and if Trey Hawkins, the guy another draft pick that we threw away, if he was good enough, maybe Tay Banks becomes expendable then. It is what it is. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, that's nothing. All right, shout out to Dane, the beautiful monster. Says King Dash, best thing about Belichick is that he will have these same defensive players coached up immediately, and if you hire Bill, Joe Schoen is gone. Okay. I believe he can still coach players up. I do believe that. It's just a different generation right now. We saw it in New England. As soon as Tom Brady was gone, and I'm not saying Tom Brady is the reason for Bill Belichick's success, but he did play a part in that. But Tom Brady didn't play defense, and we know Bill Belichick's hand was all over the defense. Pause. But I think he can still strategize. I think he can still scheme, but I don't know if his coaching ways, I should say, the way he does things. I don't know if that translates still. We're seeing it in college. It's not working at the college level. I don't know, man. And then also, if you hire Bill Belichick, he got an expiration date. Like, I don't want to hire a coach knowing that I'm going to be looking for another coach in 2 years. Bill Belichick ain't giving you more than 2 years. You know that. And then you're doing what? Right back in the search. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if that trade-off is worth it. I'm going to look up Hunter, man. I'm going to look him up. He said he can be that will, too. I'm going to look him up. Luann says, I always liked the 4-3. I did, too. I like the 4-3, too. That's what I was used to. But it's about the players that you have, man, and how we look. We just got to be more aggressive, too, man. That's one thing that Shane Bowen doesn't do. He doesn't disguise coverages, and he's not aggressive enough. And when he does blitz, they're just simple blitzes. He's sending the line back up the A gap. Sending the corner blitz, maybe possibly randomly a safety blitz. Now, when you talk about Wink would force a mismatch with the way he lined up his players, that they were always a free runner. That's a perfect understanding of the offense and the defense. It's not just, okay, I'm going to guess here and I'm going to send the cornerback because maybe it might be time to send the cornerback for the blitz to see if it works. No. And again, Wink, our defense was still not ranked high when Wink was here. But as far as confusing quarterbacks, he was probably one of the best to do it. One of the best to do it. Boat Josh says Newman is slow. 40 time. Was it like a 4.5, late 4.5s? Yeah, he wasn't known for speed, but also it was just his knowledge and football IQ. And when you already got a beat on what the quarterback is doing, you seem faster, and that's the part that I don't see from him at this level. Rev, shout out to Rev. He says our problem is at cornerback, linebacker, and safety. Yes. I'm still waiting on Javon Holland to be Javon Holland, coming off of the injury. If he can turn into the guy that was out there 2 years ago, then we got something. But I'm still waiting on those plays. But also, man, there's just a certain level of confidence and swag that the defense does not have right now. With all these players, you got Spider Burns shooting spider webs and doing all these poses. I have not seen the Darth Vader choke from Abdul Carter yet. I'm gonna tear this sticker down finally. But yeah, I'm sitting here like, what are we doing? No celebrations, no sexy Dexy. We got one, but it got taken back. You know what I mean? So, and then last week, Dexter Lawrence was the king of almost two, almost getting there. So we'll see what happens. Both Josh says Bobby O got to get cut. They're going to save some money on Bobby O, just like they're going to save some money on Graham Gano, just like they might save some money on Nacho. I think as far as the guys that we're paying money to that you can't save any money on is probably Darius Slayton. That's the only guy that you can't save any money on this contract. It costs you more to cut Darius Slayton than it does to pretty much keep him, unless you can find a trade partner for him. And that's crazy too, because I remember how optimistic I was for Darius Slayton. Odell is available. I knew that was coming. He just got cleared too off his suspension, right? Yeah. That dark friend. That's what I'm saying. Belichick is tapped out. Finished. He's done. H-Town, you crazy. I see that comment about Belichick and what he chasing. Antoine says, Dash, you mentioned coaching candidate earlier. Was it? Yeah, Aubrey. Aubrey Pleasant. Is Aubrey Pleasant. Warby is crazy. Aubrey Pleasant. or something. Yeah, Aubrey Pleasant. He's the defense. I'm sorry, he's the passing game coordinator and assistant head coach for the Rams. That's the dark horse for me. I don't think it happens. I think we're a cycle too early still for him because a lot of people don't know him, and he's not a coordinator. He might be a passing game coordinator, but he's not an OC, not a DC. Um, but he's been groomed to be a head coach by Sean McVay, and he got a lot of coaching experience. Coach D says with Burns and Carter both able to stand up or 3 point is why I think we should be in a 34, 3-4. Move these two blitzers around with stunts, twists, all that. Now, yeah, you're absolutely right. With the roster, with the personnel that we have, the 3-4 suits it better. Because if you go to the 4-3, we don't. Burns does not have the body type to be a 4-3 guy. He might be able to get away with it, maybe if you go wide 9. But he's, when you get to that 4-3, your defensive ends, those are like your Justin Tucks type builds. Your Aiden Hutchinsons, where you're 265, 270 plus at defensive end when you're in that 4-3. Those are your Strahans. Strahan's early in his career before he lost all that weight before the Super Bowl run. Because remember, Strahan had the chubby cheeks. Strahan was like 275, and then he got lighter. Those last couple of years, he was around 255. But you had guys like Justin Tuck. You had OC who were a little bit heavier, defensive ends. So the 4-3 made sense. Well, we don't do the 6-6-6s though. You know what I mean? But Lions win 66-6. We not doing the 6-6-6s. We ain't doing that here. Everything that I pray, praise the Lord. That's what we doing. Oh man, Brat says Lions then will be torture, then coming off a loss. Yeah, it's not a yeah. This is not one of those games that I'm confident in at all. But again, it will be one of the most giant things to do is to beat the Detroit Lions after losing to a bunch of bum teams. You know what I mean? Beat one of these top teams. Nobody thought we was going to beat Philly. Nobody thought we was going to beat the Chargers. Nobody thinks we're going to beat the Lions. It would be a Giants thing to do. That 3-4 needs a 3 technique, which we don't have right now. You're absolutely right. We're trying to play guys like their 3 techniques. We put Dexter Lawrence as a 3 technique. I thought Darius Alexander could possibly do it. I thought he could possibly do it. Jury's still out on that. We'll see. Both Josh bringing up another point. Phillips can't cover. He's getting exposed. Yeah, we're seeing that too, man. And then these offenses are seeing it too. They're targeting Phillips. He got benched last week too. I don't know if people realize that. He got benched. Phillips got benched last week. Banks got benched last week. They ended up having to put him back in after Flock got hurt a little bit. And then you saw guys like was it Peyton? Not Peyton. Was it Nick Jones, Corey Black? You saw guys like that. Did Rico Payton play last week? I don't remember that. I gotta check. Dane the Beautiful Monsters Godfather offer McVay blank check to be the GM. He hires Chris Shula as head coach and Aubrey as. If you can get McVay over here, yeah, absolutely. Shout out to my man Real Prince Castro in the building. But Dane, listen, if you can get McVay over here, and now McVay is not the biggest fan of the New York Giants. His grandfather was fired by the New York Giants. I believe the rumor is that he holds a grudge against the New York Giants. So, who knows? Who knows? All right. So, listen, man, we are already an hour 15 minutes into this, and I have not even previewed the game. So let's get into it a little bit. Obviously, we're dealing with some injuries. We got some guys coming back off of injury too. Mainly that being Jackson Dart if he gets through the concussion protocol. I'm curious to see how Kafka attacks his second game. I think last week he had a great plan outside in the wind, sticking to the run game, and we saw that we were successful. Both Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy did a good job running the ball last week. I think that's still going to be one of the keys. You saw the tight ends get involved too a little bit. Then also Isaiah Hodgins was moving the chains. Now this will be the first time if Dart plays. dealing with Isaiah Hodgins or throwing to Isaiah Hodgins, but I think that's not going to be an issue at all. You don't have his go-to guy and what's his name at left, Little Jordan Humphrey. So you're dealing with Wandell, possibly Darius Slayton if he gets back here, and then Isaiah Hodgins, which should be a pretty good group, especially against what we've been dealing with or having available to us. You might see these guys get open. Now this defense of the Lions, stud defense, rookie defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, if we're going to say that, but you see that they're not missing a beat. They can clearly move the ball both through the ground, on the ground, and through the air. You got obviously you got Gibbs, and I'm just sitting here like, man, our running game, our run defense, I should say. The more I think about this game, the more reasons why I think it's not going to even be close for us. But any given Sunday, anything can happen. But right now, I do not like the chances that the New York Giants have against the Detroit Lions, unless they just come in here and lay a dud. Now, if we could actually do one or the other, like if we can get consistent pass rush every game, then I say, if we can get to Goff fast enough and rattle him, we might be able to do some things because he's known to throw a couple interceptions as well, and he's a rhythm guy as well. But they can always fall back on that running game, and again, Jahmyr Gibbs. And it's crazy too because I can't remember the other guy's name. David Montgomery. Those two guys. Yeah, that's a good 1-2 punch. So even if we were to start getting to the quarterback, they can just always lean on that running game. Now they do have some injuries, some offensive linemen that are banged up. You got Penei Sewell that's banged up a little bit. He has a questionable status right now. You got Decker that's also questionable status right now. They got one more offensive lineman that's also questionable, but those guys probably all play when it comes to game day. So I don't expect them to be missing anybody as far as on that offensive line, but they are dealing with some guys that are dealing with some injuries. And then it's just the defensive line in the front, and then our linebackers doing their jobs, and that doesn't give me a lot of confidence. I want to know what you guys think, though, man, as far as game plan goes. Greg T says, no one runs a 4-3 anymore. Shaking my head. It's a 4-2-5. It's absolutely a hybrid. They want that extra safety. You got your two linebackers. You're absolutely right. H-Town says the only thing for sure the Giants need to do is bring back the offensive line. Oh, talking about the O-line and the D-line coach is what I think you mean. And then that's if you ask me, maybe Kafka as OC. I mean, if you can get somebody in here, say you get a Mike Shula in here as a defensive coordinator. First off, how does Mike Kafka feel about getting, somebody getting chosen over him? And if he doesn't have, an issue with that, then absolutely maybe you keep him as an OC because that Shula can come in here and he's going to be worried about that defensive side, and you already got some trust in what Mike Kafka is doing. But again, in most cases though, when you have a new coach coming in here, they pretty much have it set to who they want to bring in here unless they get blocked by somebody else. Like I believe when we got Brian Daboll, his number one choice at OC was Ken Dorsey. Then I believe they blocked Ken Dorsey because they gave him the promotion to offensive coordinator. So they blocked Ken Dorsey from being an offensive coordinator with Brian Daboll, and then he went with Mike Kafka. And then we didn't have anybody to bring in on defense, so that I think they pretty much sold Wink Martindale to Brian Daboll because they had no relationship prior to that. And then that's how we ended up with that coaching staff, So there was a lot of chefs in the kitchen when it came to this coaching staff in 2022. Boy, Leslie Frazier, that's another name. As long as he's not the head coach. But I don't know what is Leslie Frazier even doing right now. I don't know. Yeah, Coach G said, nah, McVay ain't coming in. He ain't coming. For sure. That ain't happening. We need to stop getting short running backs. Well, Tay Banks was 6 foot. I remember, Tay Banks is 6'1", 205 pounds. Trey Hawkins was like almost 6'3". He was a taller one. Cordell Flott is 6'1". Drew Phillips is the only one that's on the shorter side, and he's like 5'10". Corey Black is another 6-footer. So we've been drafting, taller cornerbacks. We just haven't been as successful. Like it's not a Darnay Holmes situation because he's bigger than he was. Yeah, Phillips is bigger than Darnay Holmes if I'm not mistaken. But I do know what you mean with these wide receivers being a lot bigger than what they used to be. You got guys at 6'3", 6'4", 220 pounds. You do want to try to combat that with bigger cornerbacks. But I was looking at the draft too because I look for measurables too when it comes to cornerbacks. Because obviously you don't want a 5'9", 5'10" cornerback. You would like them to be 6 foot, 6'1", 6'3". If you can find one that's 6'4". I think there's a kid that's about Tacario Davis is coming out this year. He's pretty tall. He's at Washington now. He used to be at Arizona, but he fell down the draft boards. He probably would have got drafted higher last year than he did this year. At some point in time, they had Tacario Davis as a first rounder last year, and he pretty much fell off the map. That Dark Friend says, I don't know how we stop Gibbs. We pray. We pray. That's how you stop Gibbs. You pray. You pray that he falls, that he trips, that he drops the pass, that he fumbles. That's how you stop Gibbs. That's how you hit him and knock him out of the game. That's how you stop Gibbs. Or by the grace of God, you have some type of lead and you take away the running game where they have to throw the ball. And it's just so many it's just so many balls they can get, tossed around. Pauls, that's crazy. It's crazy. About to wrap this thing up. Crazy. How tall was Revis? Revis might have been like 5'11", 6 foot. Revis wasn't that tall. But Revis was a damn unicorn, too. He was running routes for people. He was strong. You couldn't get off his press. Smart player. He studied people's weaknesses. Or studied people's game. He studied people's strengths and pretty much did what he wanted. Like, that's one of the best out there, Revis. Revis Island. One of the best. Arthur Smith from Pittsburgh. Yes, that Arthur Smith. The Arthur Smith that was the head coach for the Falcons. That was horrible. That Arthur Smith. Said Revis was shaped. He's shaped like a running back. Let's be honest. No Nagy, no Smith. Yeah. Shout out to Corky. Probably just tuning in too. All right, man. So obviously we're still gonna do the prediction before we get out of here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do the predictions again on Saturday night for the late night Giants talk. By that time, we'll know for sure if Jackson Dart is playing or not. But before we get out of here, let's get a quick prediction. The New York Giants versus the Detroit Lions. Who you guys have winning? Let me see the scores. Let me see the score. And again, it's never too late to hit that like button. It helps the channel out a lot. Appreciate the love and support for you guys doing that. All you got to do is click out the chat. Hit the like button, come right back to the chat. I would appreciate it. Greg T says 5'11" is the average height of NFL's cornerbacks. Yep. All right, my man H-Town says Lions 28-14. Dart has a good game, but not enough. That's a fact. Luann says Dart needs to play. I think it does happen. If he clears protocol, he's going to play. Simeon says 30-10, Detroit. JDJ says Giants 24, Lions 20. Carter goes for 2 sacks. I wish Carter goes for 2 sacks. Not sure why people are sleeping on him. It's not about people sleeping on Carter. It's just that we have not seen it yet, and we've been waiting for it. Trust me. If he throws a couple of games together, everybody's going to be right back on board with Abdul Carter. And you figure a lot of people haven't left. A lot of people didn't jump off the Abdul Carter train. They'll jump right back on, pause. That Dark Friend says 34-21 Lions. Dart cooks, but defense sucks. Yeah, I can see that. Fourth String Fling says 42-2 Giants. So you got the Detroit Lions getting a safety on us. Not bad. Or they block an extra point and run it back for 2. Yeah, that might be something like that. What's going on? Self-made Meek said, "Yo, Dash, what's good? What's good?" Both Joshes, we got Wink's personnel on defense. I think that is the problem. Yes, because even when you pick up Poston Adebo, he's a man press corner, and we're not playing man press. We're playing off man, which I hate. I hate because when you play off man, that's pretty much saying, I want to play man to man, but I don't trust my cornerbacks that much. So we're gonna back them up about 8 yards, and pray that we don't get beat. That's what off man signals to me. Ant, what's going on? Ant Davis says, appreciate all you do, good bro. Thank you very much, Ant. No, I appreciate that. Shout out to my man Ant Davis. Luann says, you want Patrick Graham back? That's what we got with Bowen. That soft defense. Well, it's not that Pat Graham soft shell defense though. That soft zone, I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Coach D-Mac says somehow it will be the same. A new way to lose 24-17. Dart should sit another game. A lot of people feel that way, Coach. Rev says 21-17. Giants. Greg T says, I don't care. I just hope Bowen is gone by lunchtime Monday. That's another way to look at it. JJ the King says, love my Giants, but I'm going with the line. But I got the Lions winning 24-17. Phil says Giants 34, Lions 28. Going to be funny when it's over. Okay, going to be funny when it's over. Okay. Luann says, I'm glad I stumbled onto this channel. I appreciate you. I don't know how you got here, but I appreciate that you did stumble upon this channel. Shout out to everybody, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love and support, especially from the day one people. H-Town says, keep the top draft pick. No need to mess that up. Now get a king's ransom for draft time. So you just want to lose then. You just want to lose to keep that draft pick. We can lose a couple of games and still be picking in the top 6, 7. I don't think there's any way that we can get ourselves out of the top 10. So it's possible. It's possible that you're going to be able to trade back and get some picks anyway. We'll see what happens though. I definitely would like a 3rd round pick though that we don't have. I would love to get one of those back. Luann says 24-17. Greg T says we are trying to play man match, but Bowen has no clue how to coach it. For real, he doesn't. He doesn't. He is lost out there. And then Dane says, will Turbo or Fedoni get a snap? Well, at least we know at least Fedoni's getting jerseys now. He was a healthy scratch for a while. He was on the injury report today with a foot. Again, I don't know how he got hurt. Might have been on special teams. But he says, will Turbo or Fedoni get a snap? 30-9 Lions. Best G-Men show out. Now, I appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the kind words too, man. H-Town says, keep the top 3 pick. We ride in that direction. Now, that's a fact, man. All right, so for me, my prediction is this, man. Not confident in this game at all. If the Detroit Lions do win this game, I think it's going to be by a lot of points. Detroit Lions, I can see it being 31-14 if Dart's playing, something like that. I think it's going to be a double-digit, or definitely going to be a 2-score victory if the Lions win. If the New York Giants are able to pull something off, I think it'll be a lot closer of a game. Maybe like a 24-21 type game if the New York Giants are able to pull it off. But it's just all about who's playing and what kind of rhythm these guys are going to be in, and also what kind of mindset. Because I think the mood in the building is better than it was last week. They got over the initial shock of Dable being fired, and they're getting used to how Kafka is running things. I think he's been doing good in his pressers, handling the media and stuff like that. So I think Kafka is comfortable. But can they draw up the right game plan to be competitive against the Detroit Lions? That's going to be what we're going to look for on Sunday. But with that being said, let me just make sure that I didn't miss any other super chats. Again, thank everybody for the super chats and the support as well. Greg T says 31-13 Lions. Luann says, why can't we win the last 6 games? It's possible. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. Is it probable? I don't know. I'll tell you what, if we win the last 6 games, you're already looking at the next head coach of the New York Giants, and Mike Kafka. He wins 6 games, the next 6 games, he's going to be the coach going into 2026. Just saying. Now, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows Big Blue Nation. Let's go. Good night.